Hi everyone, my name is Chaitni and I am a mindset and nutrition coach. I help clients cope with stress, depression, or anxiety through healthy habit formation, lifestyle changes, and proper nutrition. If wellness is something that intrigues you or interests you, then please make sure to subscribe to my channel. I drop a wellness related video every week. I also blog on self-love and self-care reminders. So if you're more of a reader, then please make sure to sign up for the blog. The link will be in the description. And lastly, you can follow me on Instagram at Imperfect Bodies by C Modi. First of all, I apologize for the appearance and the voice. I am under the weather, but I did want to make sure that I put something out there this week. So I apologize for that, but I will make sure I do my best. So this week's topic is how to live an authentic life. And what I'll be doing is covering the importance of living an authentic life and being an authentic individual, why it matters, and what are some characteristics to imbibe to be able to live a life of that sort. Authenticity is not just standing up for what you believe in. It actually goes a lot beyond that. Authenticity is about being grounded, about being aware, and being accepting of what's going on. When you're authentic, you're able to live a life that is really true to you. And you might wonder, what does any of this have to do with wellness? Well, everything. When you're living an authentic life, you are being honest to the truest version of yourself. So, people pleasing, emotional eating, numbing your emotions, all of that doesn't really happen, or if it does, it happens on a very minor level. And that is how you end up taking care of your overall health, your mental health, and your physical health. So, being authentic actually has a lot to do with your overall wellness, your mental and your physical. That is why it's a key component of how you project yourself, how you carry yourself in this world, and the kind of life that you live. So, with that said, I'm going to share some of the characteristics of authenticity and what it involves. There is a level of maturity that comes with being authentic, and so that's what I'll be covering. So, one of the characteristics of being authentic, number one, is understanding and expressing your feelings clearly. So, what does that mean? That means setting boundaries without feeling guilty, being able to say no. It means understanding what brings you joy and actually making time for that, not just knowing, but even doing and enhancing that. That's a very important part of understanding and expressing your feelings. It's about communicating in a healthy fashion, where if you've been disrespected or if you've been hurt, you're able to clearly send a message across that explains what hurt you and why it hurt you and why it's not okay to repeat those errors. So that is what it means to be authentic. One of the ways is to understand and to express your feelings very clearly. Number two is you are accepting of your mistakes and you're willing to learn from your mistakes. So you don't come from a place of judgment and criticism thinking you're stupid, you can't do anything right, or you messed up. It's more of one where you give yourself the feedback that's needed and you actually learn from it so as not to repeat that mistake again. So it's one where there is constructive feedback, constructive criticism, and one that you grow from, which is very important. A lot of times we speak to ourselves poorly and then we project that onto other people. When we say unpleasant things to others or we're quick to judge and criticize others' actions or others' behavior, it's really a reflection of how we treat ourselves. So when you start to accept and learn from your own mistakes, you also become a lot kinder, patient, and more accepting of the people around you. And that's one of the topmost signs of being a very authentic and secure individual. Number three is it kind of builds on number two. Number two was accepting and learning from your mistakes. Number three is accepting of yourself and others as a whole person. So until you learn to accept yourself for who you are, you will never be able to accept others. What that means is not just ignoring who you are, running away from the reality, or escaping from it. It's about accepting, acknowledging what is, and then trying to change it if you do wish to change it. When you're being inauthentic, it's very easy to be judgmental, to criticize, to write people off, to not think that they're intelligent enough or they're good enough, or whatever it is, they're just not enough. But when you accept yourself, you realize that you are enough the way you are. And yes, there's room for improvement, and there are things in it that you can do in a positive manner to grow and be the person that you wish to be. And you offer the same grace to others around you. So this is a big sign of being authentic, is when you start to accept yourself for who you are, and therein extend that same courtesy to the people around you. Number 4 is, as an authentic person, you have a grasp on reality. What I mean by that is you learn to differentiate fact from fiction. And what that means is not that you don't worry, or that you're not an emotional person, or you don't have mental health struggles, or you're not a highly sensitive person, but you stay in the present moment. You don't assume what other people are thinking. You don't put words in their mouth. You don't assume what somebody else's intentions are. You take them at face value. You take their actions at face value, and you leave it at that. And you offer yourself the same grace. There's no manipulation, there's no playing games, there's no, beneath the surface intentions or, motivations. It's just what is what you get. And you learn to take people for who they are, to understand them for who they are. You're not assuming, you are not perceiving, you are just seeing them for who they are. And that is something that's very important, because a lot of times when we start to worry, or when we're not being true to ourselves, we project, and we start to assume all these things about everyone, and why they did something or why they didn't do something, and we make up these stories in our heads. But a big part of being authentic is really just being in the present and having a very tight grasp on reality, being here in the here and now, and not assuming things about others, and not assuming things about yourself. So having very clear intentions and very clear actions, that can make a huge difference. Number 5 is understanding your motivations and values and living a life that's true to them. Part 1 is actually understanding that, really knowing what are your morals, what are your values, what is it about life that motivates you? And then living a life that's true to all those values. When you start to do that, there is alignment. And that's where you're really being authentic, and you're being that authentic version of yourself. That self-discovery, that process of self-discovery and understanding, what are your priorities, what are your values, what are your morals, what is it that motivates you, what is it that pushes you. That's kind of part 1 of the process. And then part 2 is, once you have a full grasp on that, is starting to live a life that reflects all of that. That is when you live that life of being authentic. With all this said, it doesn't mean that you may not have moments where you are inauthentic, or where you second guess, or where you doubt, or where you might do or say some things that don't feel like yourself. That is very natural. That's called being human. But when I talk about being authentic, it's about being that way more often than not. And if nothing else, at least striving to be that way. Being aware and wanting to make a change where you are living a life that feels that is true to your values, to your motivations, where you are accepting of yourself, where you're accepting of your mistakes, where you're willing to listen to the other side of the story, where you're willing to listen to somebody else, especially if they have a different point of view, where there is a level of maturity and you feel like you are who you are, and that's the version that you are presenting to the world. And as I mentioned earlier, all of this matters, because when you are living an inauthentic life, you are not being yourself, and that is tiring, that's exhausting, and that comes out in your relationships. That takes a toll on your mental health, on your physical health, because you will turn to unhealthy relationships or unhealthy coping mechanisms to start to feel more comfortable and to start to feel like yourself. Because putting on a facade is not a joke. It's not easy. It's full-time work and it's very exhausting. That's why it matters. That's why it's very important to be authentic. I always say this in all my videos, you know, change doesn't happen overnight. I've shared 5 different characteristics with you. Pick one. You know, if this is something that you want to work on, just pick one and go after it. I would say if there's one that you really want to choose the one where you really start to understand your motivators, your values, and your morals. Once you understand that, then you can build a life that is a reflection of all of that. So good luck with all of this, and you know, good luck on your journey and in your path to being authentic. As always, thank you for tuning in. I appreciate it. I'm very grateful. Once again, I apologize for my health. You know, it's I'm not where I am usually, so I apologize for that. But I will be back to myself in a week. In the meantime, please take care of yourself. Have a wonderful new year, and I will catch you in 2024. Bye-bye.